All right, I'm going to be going over the seventh seals. The seven seals. This is mostly going to be for my sisters that just don't fully get the seals yet. You know, it's just important that if you don't understand certain parts of prophecy, that you don't just sweep it under the rug. Don't be proud. Don't pretend to go along with something that you actually don't understand. You know, you should be hungry to understand what it actually means. So you should just ask about it, because no one will withhold anything from you. No one thinks any less of you as well. Because like if I don't know something in prophecy, I'll definitely ask about it. Because it is a pride issue, so I don't want anyone to be prideful. Because we know how that goes. Ugh. There's a few things in prophecy that I've been wanting to do the 7 seals for a while, as well as the Key of David and the Beatitudes, because they're like chunks of meat in prophecy that I just want to be able to explain like thoroughly so that people can really understand it. Really, because then they're without excuse. And then even if I don't explain it well enough, there's plenty of other videos from other brothers and sisters or other people that can teach the same thing, but maybe it's just their several ability that'll help you actually hear it. But then even if you have questions on one of my videos, just ask, like just call me. You know I would give you my number. Most of you have my number. Just call and ask, and like I'll try and explain it to you, because all I can do is explain it to the best of my ability in the video. But yeah, just don't get prideful. If you don't understand it, that is fine. Just ask about it. You should want to know what these things mean. But yeah, there's a lot to get through. There's a few disclaimers as well, like if you ever hear anyone separate the first 4 seals, don't listen to them. If they say, oh, we're in the first seal, we're in the third seal, don't listen to them. The first 4 seals are one. It's like, well, I'll just wait until I get there. If you hear anyone saying that the first horseman is the Antichrist, don't listen to them. Like, it's just, if you're listening to someone teach prophecy that also teaches that you don't have to keep the Sabbath, you're getting polluted bread. You're not going to be learning the truth from them. And anyway, you have to be weaned from the milk to understand the meat, which means you have to be repentant and obeying before you can be taught the truth. Because the Holy Spirit of truth, the spirit of prophecy, is given to those who obey. So you have to obey the covenants of promise first. And funnily enough, the people who teach prophecy and have the spirit of prophecy also teach obedience to the covenants of promise. It's not a coincidence. It's because God is convicting them to obey him. And then he teaches them because they have an obedient heart. You know, it's not of themselves. I think that's all. I may as well just get into it. I hope Caleb doesn't wake up from his nap. But if not, I'll just have to do a part 2. Zechariah 1 from verse 7. Upon the 24th day of the 11th month, which is the month of Sebat, in the 2nd year of Darius, came the word of the Lord unto Zechariah the son of Berechiah, the son of Iddo the prophet, saying, I saw by night, and behold, a man riding upon a red horse, and he stood among the myrtle trees that were in the bottom, and behind him there were red horses, speckled and white. Then said I, O my Lord, what are these? And the angel that talked with me said unto me, I will show you what these be. And the man that stood among the myrtle trees answered and said, These are they whom the Lord hath sent to walk to and fro through the earth. So these horsemen are walking to and fro through the earth. First note. And they answered the angel of the Lord that stood among the myrtle trees, and said, We have walked to and fro through the earth, and behold, all the earth sits still and is at rest. So the first 4 horsemen, the first 4 seals, so they're walking to and fro in the earth until the earth is at rest. So in 1 Thessalonians 5, let's quickly see if I can jump there. in 1 Thessalonians 5, when Paul actually references this. Because you've got the first 4 seals, the 4 horsemen. Then the earth being at rest is the 5th seal. Because the 5th seal is there's going to be a lot of death in the 5th seal, in the murder of the saints. And then the earth is at rest, and they say peace and safety. The 6th seal, the idioms for the 6th seal is the beginning of the day of the Lord, sudden destruction, and travail as a woman with child. It's the birth pangs. So 1 Thessalonians 5, but of the times and seasons, brethren, you have no need that I write unto you, for you yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so comes as a thief in the night. That's the beginning, that the kick-off event of that is the 6th seal, sudden destruction. For when they shall say peace and safety, when the earth is at rest, then sudden destruction shall come upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. So first they shall say peace and safety, 5th seal, then sudden destruction comes, the 6th seal. So when you go back to Zechariah now, that makes a lot more sense. So the 4 horsemen, God sent them to walk to and fro through the earth. And they're doing a number of things while they're actually doing this. So in Hebrews 13, it says, be not forgetful to entertain strangers, because you might be contacting angels unawares. That's what that's talking about, because the 4 horsemen are actually roaming the earth. So it says, the Lord has sent them, the horsemen, to walk to and fro through the earth. And they answered the angel of the Lord that stood among the myrtle trees and said, we have walked to and fro through the earth, and behold, all the earth sits still and is at rest, peace and safety. And then comes sudden destruction. So my suggestion would be to read Zechariah, well, just to read Zechariah, the whole book, but would be to read especially chapter 3. And I would note that Satan is accusing the brethren. And the brethren are called a brand plucked out of the fire. And then also they're called the Joshua the high priest, Yeshua, that's who that is, you and your fellows that sit before thee, for they are men wondered at. They're men wondered at. So the brand plucked out of the fire with Yeshua are men wondered at. When we go to Ezekiel, you're going to see that they're the man's hands underneath the wings of the archangels. And you're going to see that the archangels are the 4 horsemen. So the 4 archangels around the throne, they take different forms. And throughout all these different Old Testament prophecies and Revelation, it's always the 4 something. It's the 4 horsemen, the 4 archangels, the 4 horns, the 4 carpenters even. Actually I want to do that. Zechariah 1, verse 18. Then lifted I up mine eyes, and saw, and behold, 4 horns. And I said unto the angel that talked with me, what be these? And he answered me, these are the horns which have scattered Judah, Israel, and Jerusalem. So we know that Israel, Judah, and Jerusalem, they've been scattered. And it was these horsemen that they overlooked all of that. And the Lord showed me 4 carpenters. Then said I, what come these to do? And he spake, saying, these are the horns which have scattered Judah, so that no man did lift up his head. But these are come to fray them, to cast out the horns of the Gentiles, which lifted up their horn over the land of Judah to scatter it. So there you go. You've got 4 horsemen, the 4 horns, the 4 carpenters. And then in Revelation, they're also the 4 horsemen, and then they're the 4 beasts. The 4 beasts around the throne in Revelation 5. In Revelation 6 are the 4 horsemen, and then they're also 4 cherubim. So there's all these different names. You can see them as titles, idioms, whatever. But they're all the same. It's just different forms. In Ezekiel 1 and 10, really read 1 to 10, but Ezekiel 1 and 10 shows you that these 4 living creatures, there's another one, the 4 living creatures in Ezekiel. they have these wheels underneath them that act in complete, perfect unison with them in their every move. They're like a perfect army. In the way it describes them, we obviously will read it. But they're also described as these wheels being the man's hands underneath the wings of the archangels. The archangels are the four beasts, and then the man's hands is the 144,000. And the way it explains it is so amazing. It's like these four beasts, these four living creatures, move, and at the perfect time, at the exact same time, the 144,000 move with them, because they're executing the judgment of God together, and they have the exact same spirit. And the way that it's worded in Ezekiel is just like, it's just crazy the way it's worded. But so yeah, go to Zechariah 3. Notice that Satan's accusing the brethren. God rebukes Satan for doing that, and is basically like, aren't these a brand plucked out of the fire? And they're going to be men wondered at. So they're plucked out of the fire because they served now, and then these become the 144,000. Let's go to Zechariah 6. Seriously, go and read all of the chapters that I'm talking about. I'm just doing little bits to try and give you a taste of, just to try and give you the full picture, like a clear understanding, like highlighting different points in the chapter for you to have a better understanding. But go and read through all of it so you can get rooted. Zechariah chapter 6. And I turned, and I lifted up my eyes and looked, and behold, there came 4 chariots. In Ezekiel, it's going to be wheels. Because the wheel can be like a chariot wheel, but then the wheel within the wheel also represents the whirlwind. And you also see that in Isaiah 5. Isaiah 5:28, it talks about the 144,000, that judgment, the final judgment. They come to judge the earth, and it says their wheels as a whirlwind. So it's all these little words that you need to be picking up on. And it's the Spirit of God that even pricks your heart to be like, oh, wait, Ezekiel's using the same sort of wording as Zechariah, and that's how you build this picture. In the first chariot were red horses, and in the second chariot black horses, and in the third chariot white horses. I sound quite hoarse, actually. I feel like I haven't spoke in ages. Anyway. And in the third chariot white horses, and in the fourth chariot grizzled and bay horses. Then I answered and said to the angel that talked with me, what are these, my lord? And the angel answered and said unto me, these are the 4 spirits of the heavens, which go forth from standing before the Lord of all the earth. The black horses which are therein go forth into the north country, and the white go forth after them. And the grizzled go forth toward the south country, and the bay went forth and sought to go, that they might walk to and fro through the earth. And he said, get you hence, walk to and fro through the earth. So they walked to and fro through the earth. Then cried he upon me and spake unto me, saying, behold, these that go toward the north country have quieted my spirit in the north country. I think I can leave it there. But you've basically got the 4 horsemen, the 4 spirits, the different coloured horses. It's all that Revelation talk, and so I think we'll just go to Revelation to sort of link it to this. But they're walking to and fro in the earth. That's how come the 4 seals are open now. Because some people will be like, oh, but none of that has happened yet. Or some people will be like, seriously, don't listen to the people that say we're in the first seal or the second. It doesn't even make sense. It's just their own imagination. They're reading like the first seal and applying it to what's happening now in the earth and being like, oh, maybe we are in the first seal. Like, it's just their own imagination. They're not actually listening to the whole of what Revelation's talking about. Before we go into Revelation 6, though, I want to do Revelation 5, because Revelation 5 is going to really link in with Ezekiel, and Ezekiel really links in with Zechariah. It's just, this is amazing stuff. What am I doing? No, Revelation 4, man. After this I looked, and behold, there's going to be a lot of reading, so read along. Because everything that I'm reading, if you read along in at the same time, the way that it's ordered, I'm hoping is going to paint a really clear picture. After this I looked, and behold, a door was opened in heaven, and the first voice which I heard was as it were of a trumpet talking with me, which said, Come up hither, and I will show you the things which must be hereafter. And immediately I was in the Spirit, and behold, a throne was set in heaven, and one sat on the throne, and he that sat was to look upon like a jasper and a sardine stone. And there was a rainbow round about the throne, in sight like unto an emerald. And round about the throne were 24 seats, and upon the seats I saw 24 elders sitting, clothed in white raiment, and they had on their heads crowns of gold. And out of the throne proceeded lightnings and thunderings and voices, and there were 7 lamps of fire burning before the throne, which are the 7 spirits of God. And before the throne there was a sea of glass like unto crystal, and in the midst of the throne and round about the throne were 4 beasts full of eyes. This is Ezekiel language, Ezekiel 1. There was 4 beasts full of eyes before and behind. And the first beast was like a lion, and the second beast like a calf, and the third beast had the face of a man, and the fourth beast was like a flying eagle. And the 4 beasts had each of them 6 wings about him, and they were full of eyes within, and they rest not day and night, saying, Holy, 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 Lord God Almighty, which was and is to come. And when those beasts give glory and honour and thanks to him that sat on the throne, who lives forever and ever, the 24 elders fall down before him that sat on the throne, and worship him that lived forever and ever and ever, and cast their crowns before the throne, saying, Thou art worthy, O Lord, to receive glory and honour and power, for you have created all things, and for your pleasure they are and were created. This is the 4 horsemen. They're the 4 beasts, the 4 archangels, the 4 cherubim, the 4 living creatures in Ezekiel. And there's lots of connections that show that, and I'll point them out. Should we do verse 5? I feel like I kind of should. Well, you just go and read chapter 5 as well. I just hope there's not any details that I would be missing. No, I'll just go with verse 5, chapter 6. And I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard, as it were, the noise of thunder, one of the 4 beasts saying, I hope he was just coughing. I think he's coming. The noise of thunder, one of 4 beasts saying, Come and see. And I saw, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer. And when he had opened the 2nd seal, I hear the 2nd beast say, Come and see. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. And when he had opened the 3rd seal, I heard the 3rd beast. So you noticing that it's the first seal. So Yeshua opens the 1st seal, and then the first beast says, Come and see. Come and look at the 1st seal. Because the first beast is the 1st horseman, and the 2nd beast is the 2nd horseman. And it's like this mirror image. Come and see, and I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the 4 beasts say, A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. See that thou hurt not the oil and the wine. And when he had opened the 4th seal, I heard the voice of the 4th beast say, Come and see. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given unto them, all 4 of them. And power was given unto them over the 4th part of the earth, to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. So power was given unto them. So there's no, we're in the 1st seal or the 2nd seal. all 4 horsemen are given power at the same time to execute God's judgment at the same time. But there's one condition for when that can begin. So the first 4 seals are open, but all that's happening is they're roaming the earth until the earth is at rest. And then the judgment can be executed. Why? Because they need to wait for the man's hands underneath their wings, the 144,000, to be sealed in their foreheads. So we'll keep reading. And then you're going to see that that's the case in the next chapter. I've just gave it away. So then the 5th seal's opened. There's the souls of those that are slain for the word of God under the altar, and they're crying out, saying, "How long will you avenge our blood on the earth?" So obviously they've been slaughtered in the 5th seal. So the 5th seal is a lot of death, and then they say peace and safety. So there's either like a mass death event, and then they say peace and safety because they think it's over, or I'm just speculating, maybe like because the world hates those that actually preach the truth. So maybe some people die and they're like, yay, basically celebrating the death of the people that were teaching the word of God, or something like that, I don't know. So then they say peace and safety, but then comes the 6th seal, which is the beginning of the day of the Lord, which is sudden destruction. And that's why Paul's telling you that in 1 Thessalonians 5. This is what he's talking about. Which is why he addresses the beginning of that chapter. He says, "Brethren, you know that I don't need to write to you about the day of the Lord coming like a thief in the night, because you already know that." So do you already know that? You should already know that. If you don't, it is going to come upon you like a thief in the night. So, and white robes were given to these saints that were slain, and it was said unto them that they should rest for a little season. Little season is an idiom for great tribulation. It's also called a short season. It's called times, and half a time. Also called, what's another idiom for the tribulation? 42 months. It's 3.5 years, basically. That's the little season. Until their fellow servants also and their brethren that should be killed as they were should be fulfilled. Why is that the case? Because when the tribulation saints die as well, at the end of tribulation, it's the resurrection. So he's telling them, don't worry, just wait till the resurrection. And I beheld when he had opened the 6th seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, and the stars of heaven fell into the earth, even as a fig tree casts her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. Isaiah 28, Satan's getting cast down over Ephraim, which is Babylon, which is America. Satan will get cast down over America. The angels will fall with him. They're the untimely figs. And the Messiah says, learn the parable of the fig tree, because he's basically telling you the season that the 6th seal is going to open. And it's the spring, because summer is nigh. That's what it says. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. Yeah, like mass destruction, like earthquakes, probably like pole shifts, just lots of crazy stuff like that. It's just crazy to visualize. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man, hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and the rocks, fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sits on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? We can't escape God's wrath. My sister actually just did a little video on how preppers are basically, they're overcompensating for their lack of faith. So they know what's coming. But instead of going the faith route and being like, right, God, what do you want from me? How do we get people saved so that people can escape this? Like, what do we need to do? Instead of going that route, they basically like overcompensate in the physical, and they'll start prepping 5 years of food supply, getting all of their stuff sorted, and all of those things can perish. Like you can have an underground bunker. Like all these rich people that have these elaborate underground bunkers, we've all seen them. And the people who are, they're predicting nuclear war and they're trying to prepare how to survive a nuclear war. And it's like they're overcompensating for their lack of faith in the physical. So it's like God can easily have a group of wicked men raid your bunker and destroy everything, and you can have your food perish, and you can literally cause a earthquake or lightning or whatever. You could just do anything to destroy what you've made. Like that isn't going to be able to save you. And it was just such a great point that she was making. And just reading, when you read the destruction, it's so just bitter in your belly, because it's just like, oh, like no one believes this is going to happen, and yet, like no one believes that the Bible is true, and yet they know that this world is coming to an end. They know, or it's coming to an end as we know it anyway. Like they know we're on the brink of war. They know that there's so many things wrong. There's so much corruption. They know. Like if you actually think that we're not being lied to in any way, that's another level of delusion. I just can't even believe that. It's like everyone knows something is coming, but everyone is avoiding it. And that when this happens, you're gonna be trying to hide and overcompensate for your lack of faith and for the fact that you didn't believe that this was going to happen. For the great day of his wrath has come, and who shall be able to stand? Chapter 7 tells you who's going to be able to stand, basically, or who's going to be able to at least be saved out of it. So, and after these things I saw 4 angels, 4 beasts, 4 archangels. And in Enoch it tells us that they're called, these 4 beasts is, and the 4 archangels is Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel. I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds. We're going to see this in Ezekiel, the 4 whirlwinds, or just the whirlwind judgment. Just listen out for whirlwinds, wheels, chariots, things like that. Holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God, and he cried aloud, with a loud voice, to the 4 angels, to whom it was he said this to the 4 angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea. So there you go. The 4 horsemen are the 4 archangels, because we've just learned that it was the 4 horsemen. Power was given unto them to execute judgment. But now this angel is saying it's the 4 archangels that is given it. They're just in different form. It's just a different title. So he said to the 4 angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, he said, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees. Why? Until we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all of the tribes of the children of Israel, Judah, Reuben, Gad, Asher, Naphtali, Manasseh, Simeon, Levi, Issachar, Zebulun, Joseph, and Benjamin. They're the 12 tribes. They're the 144,000. They're the servants. That's how you know the servants are the 144,000. Other 144,000 are going to be servants of God on the earth before they're glorified. But when they're glorified, they become the man's hands underneath the wings of the archangels. So let's just go straight to Ezekiel then. I think I've made the point. Let's go to Ezekiel, because now you're going to hear all of that language, all that beautiful language, the idiom goodness. It's just going to come alive, and I pray that it is, because like, all you've got to do is just read it. Like, I've barely elaborated. I feel like the bits that I'm reading out just interprets itself. It's just amazing. So no, the first horseman isn't the Antichrist, you dafties. Like, what are you talking about? Like, where are people getting this stuff? Their own imagination, and how much are we warned about not going to our own imagination? So, Ezekiel 1. Why? I feel like I just sound like 70. And that's sparkling water, so it's making us burp as well. So Ezekiel 1. Where from? Verse 4. Verse 3. The word of the Lord came expressly unto Ezekiel the priest, the son of Buzi, in the land of the Chaldeans by the river of Chebar, and the hand of the Lord was there upon him. And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, and a fire enfolding itself. Whirlwind, I've just missed it. There a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, and a fire enfolding itself, and a brightness was about it, and out of the midst thereof, as the colour of amber, out of the midst of the fire. Also out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures. That's the 4 archangels, the 4 horsemen, the 4 beasts, the 4 horns. It's all the same thing. The likeness of 4 living creatures, and this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man, and every one had 4 faces, and every one had 4 wings, and their feet were straight feet, and the sole of their feet was like the sole of a calf's foot, and they sparkled like the colour of burnished brass. And they had the hands of a man under their wings on their 4 sides, and they 4 had their faces and their wings. So they had the hands of a man under their wings. The hands under their wings is the men wondered at. So no wonder the 4 seals are open right now, but they're just roaming the earth until the servants are sealed. All of the servants. Otherwise, they wouldn't have the man's hands under their wings. They wouldn't have the men wondered at with them. They're an army. Get it? So the 4 seals are open, but the destruction within the 4 seals hasn't happened yet. Because if you listen, power was given unto them when the servants are sealed, the 144,000. And then sudden destruction comes, and then they come and execute fiery vengeance. So, their wings were joined one to another. They turned not... I love this. It's funny, right? Because the whole point of the servants now is that they become like one man. That they have they're speaking the exact same truth. They're speaking the same word. In the same way. It's like they have the same spirit. And then, like, these men in their glorified form, the way they interact with the archangels, they have this same spirit where Joel says they don't break their ranks. They never break their ranks. They're like in perfect unison. And I just think that's amazing. It's like as above, so below. As above, so below. Yeah. So, their wings were joined one to another. They turned not when they went. They went every one straight forward. And as for the likeness of their faces, they 4 had the face of a man, and the face of a lion on the right side, and they 4 had the face of an ox on the left side, and they 4 also had the face of an eagle. Thus were their faces, and their wings were stretched upwards. 2 wings of every one were joined one to another, and 2 covered their bodies. And they went every one straight forward. Whither the Spirit was to go, they went, and they turned not when they went. As for the likeness of the living creatures, their appearance was like burning coals of fire, and like the appearance of lamps. It went up and down among the living creatures, and the fire was bright, and out of the fire went forth lightning. And the living creatures ran and returned as the appearance of a flash of lightning. Now as I beheld the living creatures, behold, one wheel upon the earth by the living creatures with his 4 faces. The appearance of the wheels, the chariot wheels, where have we just read that? Where was the chariot? Was it in Zechariah? But anyway, it's the same language. The chariot. Oh. I kind of want to go to Jeremiah 23 now. Wait. I'll get through this first. Now as I beheld the living creatures, behold, one wheel upon the earth by the living creatures with his 4 faces. The appearance of the wheels and their work was like unto the colour of a beryl, and they four had one likeness, and their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel. When they went upon their four sides, and they turned not when they went. I want to just show the way that they're sort of lockstep, like they're totally, completely in unison. So the living creatures are the four angels, and the wheels, the whirlwind, is the 144,000, the man's hands under the archangels. So verse 19, and when the living creatures went, the wheels went by them. And when the living creatures were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were also lifted up. So to word that differently, when the archangels went, the 144,000 go with them. And when the living creatures are lifted up from the earth, the 144,000 are also lifted up. Whithersoever the spirit was to go, they went. Thither was their spirit to go, and the wheels were lifted up over against them. For the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels. They're of the same spirit. And I just think that's amazing. Also, not to mention that Ezekiel 2 and 3 is the watchmen calling, and the watchmen are the servants, and the servants become the 144,000. So it's amazing. Read Ezekiel 1 to 10. But especially Ezekiel 1, 2, 3, 4, 9 and 10, I think. Ezekiel 10, I was going to read as well, but it just has a lot of the same language. I just don't know how much longer I'm going to have. But maybe just to do a few more idioms. For the wheels being, the wheel within a wheel being the whirlwind. This is really cool. Isaiah 5:28. Well, I'll go from verse 26. And he will lift up an ensign to the nations from far. Already. Ensign. That's another idiom for the 144,000. When they, so they're caught up to the throne, and when they return to judge, that's going to be an ensign, or it's also called a standard to the nations from afar. So that's who it's talking about. He will lift up the 144,000 to the nations from far, and will hiss unto them from the end of the earth, and behold, they shall come with speed swiftly. None shall be weary, nor stumble among them. None shall slumber, nor sleep. Neither shall the girdle of their loins be loosed, nor the latchet of their shoes be broken. They're going to be a devastating army, honestly. Like a perfect army. They're never going to break their ranks. They're going to fall on the sword, but they're not going to die. That's in Joel 2, I think. Whose arrows are sharp, and all of their bows bent. Their horses' hooves shall be counted like flint, and their wheels like a whirlwind. There you go. Whirlwind judgment. And whenever you see whirlwind judgment, that's even in Proverbs, it's talking about the judgment of the 144,000 and the archangels. And even when Yeshua returns, he returns with these angels. That's what's happening there. They're returning as an army with their king. And it's gonna be devastating. But they're also gonna protect a lot of people. They're gonna lead the second Exodus as well. Listen, like, God has given us a chance. He's thrown us a major bone to repent and enter into the servanthood, and given us the opportunity to even be a part of this. And it's to even escape what's to come. But it's because God puts his love for others in you that you can go out and speak in a way that people really hate the truth. People will always hate the truth. This world does not love the truth. They'll even kill those who speak the truth. So, but if God's with you, who can be against you? So, whose arrows are sharp and all of their bows bent. No. Their wheels like a whirlwind. Their roaring shall be like a lion, they shall roar like young lions, yea, they shall roar and lay hold of the prey, and shall carry it away safe, and none shall deliver it. I think that's talking about the second Exodus, where they're going to protect the woman in the wilderness, which is the second Exodus. They're going to protect them from tribulation. And in that day they shall roar against them like the roaring of the sea. And if one look unto the land, behold darkness and sorrow, and the light is darkened in the heavens thereof. The day of the Lord is a day of darkness. What is it to you, Christian church, who won't even lift a finger to go and find anyone because you don't even know to keep the commandments yourself because you just don't want to? Stupid. You try to tell people to keep the 10 Commandments so that they can actually experience God. And they're just, don't put that burden on me. It's a burden to you to actually get to know God and have him dwell with you. But they don't believe that that's how God dwells with people because they don't actually believe the Bible. Jeremiah 23. This is another... From verse 19. Behold, a whirlwind of the Lord is gone forth in fury, judgment. Even a grievous whirlwind. It shall fall grievously upon the head of the wicked. The anger of the Lord shall not return until he has executed, until he has performed the thoughts of his heart. In the latter days you shall consider it perfectly. Why? Because you're in great tribulation. I have not sent these prophets, yet they ran. I had not spoken to them, yet they prophesied. But if they had stood in my counsel, and had caused my people to hear my words, then they should have turned them from their evil way and from the evil of their doings. See, the true prophets are going to turn people from sin, not encourage it. Deaf? Like, are you deaf? The book of Revelation, anyway, all these people teaching the seals, and they're just like, don't even have a clue what they're talking about. The book of Revelation is written to the servants. Servants serve. They keep the commandments and teach others to do so. And because they do that, they have the spirit of prophecy to be able to understand Revelation. It's not because they know. It's not because they're just smart. Quite the opposite, actually. It's just... They don't believe how God works. 1 Corinthians 1. I'm gonna raise up the foolish things of this earth to confound those that think themselves to be wise. There's no one that thinks themselves wiser than false pastors in a suit and cufflinks preaching to thousands of people thinking they're the best, and women just absolutely embarrassing themselves teaching the word of God, like Paula White. Leading so many people astray. You don't know how people can watch these liars and actually be deceived by them. Like, how many times has God told us that gain is not godliness? That money is the root of all evil. Thou shalt not covet. Like, but they're just prosperity gospel. It's just crazy. Encouraging people's sin, encouraging covetousness. Mystery Babylon just loves that covetousness. She loves to live deliciously. Psst. Come out of her, my people. I think, I don't think I had anything else to read about the 7 seals. The 7th seal is this silence in heaven for half an hour and then the trumpets line up. But I don't really know how that's going to manifest on the earth. Probably some kind of mass shock after the 6th seal, because it's going to be like the ocean is going to be like torn in half, and there's going to, like, God is going to make land where there's ocean and ocean where there's land, and it's all this like what's the word, like cosmic disruption. That's how it's going to be. Yeah. I don't think I've got anything else to read, but I'm just thinking, because I'm just sort of thinking that Caleb's still asleep right now, so I might make the most of it, but I feel like he's going to wake up really soon. Oh no, I guess I'll just leave it there. Just keep the covenants of promise from Ephesians 2, because grace is the spirit of conviction that convicts you to even do that. It convicts you to stop coveting, to stop lusting, to stop doing pagan idolatry. It pricks your heart, like, why are we doing these traditions? That's God convicting you. If you're feeling that, obey it. And any of you women that are new or just seeing my video, just reach out to me. I've always put information in the description. You can reach out to us. I'll give you my email and my number, and we can fellowship. So, yeah.